Almost every year, there's a movie that, while some claim to be a masterpiece, others say is a piece of garbage and hate. Last year, that movie was Inherent Vice, Paul Thomas Anderson's adaptation of Thomas Pynchon's novel of the same name. What I'm going to do is try and explain it as best as I can. But before I begin, let me say that this is just my interpretation, and please don't freak out. Also, this contains heavy and really extreme spoilers for Inherent Vice, so if you haven't watched that, I do so. Alright, let's begin. The movie starts off at Doc's house, and his ex-girlfriend, Shasta, shows up out of nowhere asking for his help. She wants him to help her prevent a multimillionaire she's in love with, Mickey Wolfman, from being committed to a loony bin. Doc agrees. We then meet our narrator, who I think is the only fake character in Inherent Vice. Mainly because of all the scenes she's in, nobody seems to notice her. In the next scene, another character shows up at Doc's office, Kahil Tariq. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. If not, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. A member of the Black Panthers who wants Doc's help to find one of Mickey's bodyguards, Glenn Sharlock. And of course, Doc agrees. It's also noteworthy that Glenn Sharlock owes Cahill money, and he's a white supremacist, so obviously Cahill wants his money back. It is also becoming increasingly clear that Mickey Wolfman has a lot of connections with criminals. Doc then goes to a place where Glenn works, not knowing it's a brothel. Our narrator drives him there, and as always, Doc is the only person that interacts with her, even though they're the only two people in the car. This is where we meet Jade. Jade is actually a pretty important character and shows up later. While Jade demonstrates on her colleague their skills, Doc sneaks off into the back to look for Mickey Wolfman, but gets hit over the head and is knocked unconscious. Doc then wakes up next to the dead Glenn Sharlock and is surrounded by police. Bigfoot makes his first appearance here. While being interrogated, Noturi shows up, played by Benicio del Toro, to get Doc out of there. He is then released as a suspect. It's also worth noting that while Bigfoot and Doc aren't really friends, they do have a lot of respect for one another and do tend to get along, but they're, kind of like business, but, Later on, Bigfoot tells Doc Sasha has also gone missing, along with Wolfman. Of course, Doc becomes extremely upset about this, and, you know, Doc is then called to a home where he talks to a woman has no idea what happened to her husband, Coy. Coy is played by Owen Wilson. Doc agrees to help her as well. In another scene, we first hear about the Golden Fang. The Golden Fang is also very important for the story arc. It's basically kind of what controls the overall plot, even though there really isn't one in Inherent Vice. Doc then meets Penny, who he's having an affair with, and the two talk about the murder of Glenn and the Golden Fang. When Doc returns back to his office, he gets a warning from Jade, the prostitute, who says, "Beware the Golden Fang." This is extremely important because this is where we get hinted that, the Golden Fang is dangerous. Don't screw with them. Doc meets Jade in an alleyway where she explains the Golden Fang is a drug smuggling boat. She also apologizes for dumping Doc next to the dead Glenn Sharlock. Doc says it's alright, and then he talks to Coy. Coy just tells him right here that he's playing in a surfer band and all that stuff, and he misses his family. When Doc returns home, he then calls Penny over for pizza. While the two are talking, he then discovers and figures out that Coy's a snitch working for the police. This is also very important. Doc and his friend then go to talk with Coy at a party, disguised though. When we learn Coy misses his family greatly, but can't return them because he would get killed, as well as his family. The only thing preventing from it is the Golden Fang business, which is why he gets returned to his family at the end of the movie. When Doc returns home, he receives a postcard from Sashta. He is reminded of a memory of a Ouija board. We see even more proof here that the narrator is not real, as only Doc seems to notice her, even though Sashta is right next to him. They ask the board where to find weed due to the lack of weed, and they call it something like the weed drought. The board tells them a number which they call, and it leads them downtown. Even though And now, even more proof, the narrator, I believe, screams, it's a setup by the cops, but nobody knows her again. Doc then returns to the place in his memory, only to find a big building labeled Golden Fang Enterprises. He then goes in and talks to a dentist named Dr. Rudy. Rudy is constantly snorting cocaine and having relationships with his staff, which is very bad if you're a dentist or any type of doctor. While he's off having fun with one of the staff members, quote and unquote, on fun, Doc sneaks off into a room full of dentists. Doc remembers Coy's wife saying heroin ruins your teeth and sucks the calcium out of your body. I believe this is some sort of program the Golden Fang has set up. That way they can make even more money by fixing people's damaged teeth because they have dentists working for them. Dr. Rudy returns and Doc leaves with them another girl who's the daughter of a rich man named Crocker Fenway. Remember this man later because he comes up later in the movie. Presumably the next day, Bigfoot and Doc are having breakfast, and Bigfoot informs him Dr. Rudy was found dead with fang marks around his neck and just stuff. Bigfoot also tells Doc there may be a connection between Rudy's death and Puck Beaverton, another one of Wolfman's guards. Doc then goes to a mental institution. Here we see Coy in some sort of rehab program. Doc also finds out that there's another program the Golden Fang has that helps heroin addicts get off the stuff, meaning even more money for the Golden Fang. Even though they lose those people, they're still collecting money from the rehab. Doc also sees a man with a swastika tattoo on his face. Then Doc catches a glimpse of Wolfman, who is being guided around the place by FBI agents. He sneaks into Wolfman's room where here Wolfman tells Doc he's happy with the cult running the place, and he feels sorry for making people pay for shelter, meaning he has completely lost it. Doc then just leaves. When Doc returns to his home, he is greeted by Sashta. She is happy to see him. Penny then allows Doc to ask access to confidential files. Then he finds out about a man who kills people the police don't like, and is basically a hitman working for them. The most notable person he's killed is Bigfoot's partner to Doc. Because he probably killed some much more important people than Bigfoot's partner, but Doc just feels bad for Bigfoot. The man's name who kills people is Adrian Prussia. One of my other theories is that Prussia was the man who killed Glenn Sherlock, since the police didn't like him though. Although there's not really much proof around there, I just believe that's how it went down. So feel free to discuss that in the comments, but this is just my interpretation of the movie, as stated above. Doc goes to meet Prussia, but is poisoned by Beaverton. He gives him some PBV stuff that basically just makes him way too high and dazed and confused. Doc awakes handcuffed to the ceiling, but manages to escape using a shard of a credit card in his shoe. He then takes the lethal injection Beaverton threatened to kill him with and stabs it into his neck. He then grabs Beaverton's gun and shoots the other guy. When Doc comes out, he's greeted by Bigfoot, who is stealing heroin from the Golden Fang. This is most likely to weaken business with it, so it's easier to take them down since he's been conducting something else, and he probably figured out the Golden Fang. He leaves 1 or 2 boxes for evidence so they can even get them later. Bigfoot then dumps the boxes of heroin with Doc, who arranges them to be traded off with Crocker Fenway in exchange for Coy's freedom. Fenway implies to Doc that he was responsible for Dr. Rudy's death because Rudy was forcing his daughter into sexual relationships and stuff. But when she was underage, at the change off, they hand him a credit card for Coy. Doc then goes to watch the Golden Fang become repossessed, and Coy is reunited with his family. And there you go. I hope you understand and hear advice. If you like this, please share this video. And also comment down below your ideas. And thank you very much. I hope to see you on my next video, whatever that may be. And thank you. Bye.